Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman, Wargamer. It's an open the box and it's an unboxing of my latest P500 at the time of videoing anyway, of a reprint of a volume in a series of games that has a strong following, and it is Under the Southern Cross, South American Naval Battles in the Age of Sail, 1811 to 1841. And it is volume 4 in the Flying Colours series. The systems designed by Mike Nagel, this volume design and historical research by Steve Paul and the game developer Chris Volk, and published of course by GMT Games. So what's all this about? So Napoleon's invasion of Portugal and Spain fractured royalist sovereignty over both nations' empires in the New World. Patriots across the continent were quick to seize on the opportunity, and as the second decade of the 19th century opened, independence movements sprang up all over the Americas. While the names of Bolivar, San Martin and Belgrano may be familiar, the role of naval and riverine forces in the various wars of independence and the ensuing conflicts between the new American republics has been largely overlooked until now. So here we've got some more info of the countries involved, and very importantly, like the preceding volumes in the series, Under the Southern Cross is completely independent of, while being fully compatible with, the other volumes in the series. So you could pick up any of these volumes in the Flying Colours series and have a completely independent game without worrying to buy the core set, as it were. And it says right at the end here, can you, as the Spanish, strangle the rebel American governments and preserve the centuries-old Spanish Empire? Or will you help the Patriot forces throw off the imperialist yoke of the European monarchies? Now you can try with Under the Southern Cross. So there we are. Here's some examples of the counters and game contents. We've got 2 full-size game maps, 1 full-size dual game map, 2 counter sheets, 1 playbook, 1 Flying Colours series rulebook, 1 turn record track, 2 game charts, 55 action cards, and a 10-sided die. And the game credits, Flying Colours system design Mike Nagel, mentioned earlier, with this volume's design and its historical research done by Steve Paul, game developer Chris Volk, art director Mark Simonich, cover art and package design Justin Martinez, and the production coordinator Tony Curtis. So 1 to 4 players, playing time 3 to 8 hours, ages 14 plus, and the map 100 meters per hex. Time each game turn is about 5 to 10 minutes, and the units 1 ship per counter. And on the game scales here, we've got a complexity of 6 out of 9 and a solitaire suitability of 6 out of 9. Right. Let's get the shrink wrap off. Okay, the shrink wrap is off. It's the usual sturdy 2-inch box that GMT want to use. So let's open the box. First thing we see is the playbook and the rules. The playbook we'll have a look at in a moment. But let's have a quick sort of look through the rules. So here are the rules. This is version 01.01.2023. So these are the most up-to-date rules. 24 pages, full colour matte paper. And even if you just own the original Flying Colours, it would be best to get these from the GMT website, because the ones I got in my deluxe version of Flying Colours has been superseded by these. I don't think there's a massive amount of difference. They're both 24 pages, probably more like clarifications, but we'll have a quick look. as it's been a little while since we saw the rule book in the original flying colours. So glossary, introduction, and then the components. So as I say, it's really good that these are all independent games. So if you don't want to get the original flying colours, but this one tickles your fancy, you can get it knowing full well that everything you need is in there, including the brand new rulebook. So here are the core rules. And there's not a ton of rules. It's quite easy to follow. Movement, determine initiative, command activation, and how we do all this. Tacking, side slipping, drifting, backing up sails. What happens if you want to pass through with a large ship or pass through a small ship. Grappling, fire combat. There is some sort of line of sight, which is pretty obvious. If you can't see through a ship to fire at it, you can't fire at it. Arcs of fire. And all the different types of things you can do there. Sinking of ships, never a good thing. Fires breaking out. And when things get too bad, the commander can transfer his flagship to another one. Melee combat by boarding ships. You can capture ships. So we've got about 16 and a bit pages of sort of core rules. And then there's the optional rules. So we've got things like end of the world, anchoring limits, grounding and towing, shore batteries, and these initiative cards, which are mentioned in the other rules, but make their appearance in Serpents of the Seas, which is another volume I wish GMT would reprint, and this one. So we'll have a look at those in a moment. Revised sequence of play that you use instead of the one in the core sequence. More involved, I would have thought. Short sails, men of iron, manpower, and turning succession. Now, ship duels doesn't apply. You use special maps and rules, and that I believe is in the volume Serpents of the Sea. I mentioned that would quite like GMT to reprint. A bit about the initiative cards and an index on the back. There we go. Them's the updated rules. Next, we've got the 48-page playbook. So we'll have a look, see what's going on here. Expanded sequence of play. So there's some differences between the sequence of play in the core rules, if you like, and this volume. Some special rules for this volume or module. A few of those. River current. And then we're into the scenarios. We've got the Argentine War of Independence. Single mapper, which is good. Another single mapper there. We'll go quickly through these with some sort of historical context mixed in. Yeah, all single mappers so far, which is good news for people with limited space. Another single mapper there. Liberators and Corsairs, privateers during the Independence War. Ah, that's to do with the ship duels, which doesn't really apply until they reprint that other volume. Yep, looks like most of these are single mappers. Montevideo J. Well, we'll have a look at the maps and see if some maps are bigger than others. Plenty for you to be getting on with. The Battle for Uruguay. Again, getting your money's worth here with all these scenarios. They all look like they're a single map, but we're going to have to see what the size of that single map is. There we are. And bibliography and gazetteer info on the back page. That's your playbook. Next, we have 2 sheets of counters. Here's the first sheet. And in this volume, it's mainly smaller ships. We've got a few larger ones down the bottom there. These are 1/2-inch counters. Commanders here. And the different colours, of course, are the different countries. And on the other side, the reduced damaged side of the ships and of the commanders. W means they're wounded, and their victory points. And here's the second sheet. Mainly, it looks like admin counters. Which side of the ship has fired. Damage to the rigging and the sails. And, oh dear, on fire. And here's the other side. So not a huge counter number for you to deal with. Next, we've got the player aids. Now, I'm not sure, without comparing them with the others, if there's been any changes, but let's have a look at them. Here's player aid card number 1. It's a bifold, and we've got the firepower determination table here with all the DRMs, the rake table, carronade table, and a little helpful diagram about firing and raking. I've just noticed up here it says 2023, so I'm not sure if there's any differences. But if you do have other volumes, I'd have a quick check and comparison to see if there's any changes. But inside this bifold is the hit results tables of firing against large vessels and the small vessels. So for this volume, we'll mainly be using this one. It's not as frightening as it looks, by the way, if you've never played this game before. And on the back, we've got a movement table, the tacking table, wind adjustment table, river shoals, ships on fire, and the grounding tables, along with a little diagram reminding you of the different ways the ships can move. Here's player aid 2. Again, lots of tables, collision, evasion, the grappling and break-off table. Over here we've got the strike table, disengagement table, and the command transfer table. As mentioned earlier, the flagship of the commander is in trouble. It can get into a little boat and try and get to another one. And the result of this table will let you know if he was successful or not. And on the other side, we've got some scenario-specific tables, as well as the wind adjustment table and the wind force table. And lastly, a sequence of play and turn track. Now, normally these are single-sided, but I have been pleasantly surprised because on the other side, we've got the dual sequence of play. So maybe we can play some duels in this volume. I shall be very pleased if that's the case. But that's the sequence of play turn track card. Next are the maps, so let's have a look at those. So up here is map K. So this is just a normal sized map, and some of the scenarios we're using just map K. Again, not much in the way of features, and if I remember rightly, these different colors are different depths of the particular sea. And if we move it up slightly, you can see there's the bottom there, look. That's map K. And here is map J. So you may be able to join these together because there are some edges that don't have this sort of finish on the edge here. And here's the bottom of it. So that's those. However, on the back of the box, if you remember, it said one full-size dual game map, and I'm thinking that's double-sided. But no, it is the dual map. Wonderful. You now have a pleasantly surprised Ruff. There we go. I thought this was only included in the Serpents of the Seas volume. But there we go. What do I know? Brilliant. So here you can have, I think, 1 or 2 ships each side on this smaller map, and everything you need, all the tables and that are there. But look at this, wonderful. And just down the bottom here, just for completeness, you can see the bottom edge. That's all ready to go. There's a D10. And just to finish off, those cards we were talking about. So let's have a look at those. So we've got 2 decks of different colours and another single card. That's a different colour as well. And on the back of that, not sure what any of this means yet. These appear to be the same. So we'll have a look at one of these decks. And this, I assume, is to do with the initiative. And we've got events, I think, down here. And some of them have got these symbols, which I think they said it's something to do with load. There we are. Yes, those symbols I've just showed you are to do with the load type, double or chain shot. So that's interesting. So that's the cards, and that's everything in the box. So this has been an Open the Box, an unboxing of a volume that I've been waiting for a little while on the P500, part of the Flying Colours series, and it is Under the Southern Cross, Volume 4, South American Naval Battles in the Age of Sail, published, of course, by GMT Games. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and you found it interesting. I certainly was pleasantly surprised with this dual map. But if you did enjoy it and you haven't done so already, why not think about subscribing to the channel? Really does help. Pushing that thumbs up, the like button underneath the video helps tremendously as well. And if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push that old bell. But make sure you click on the all notifications part of it. Otherwise, those tinkers YouTube might not let you know. As always, I encourage you to leave a comment. What do you think? Let me know, because I love to read them. And thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you very much. And just before I go quickly, if you want to support the channel a little bit further, well, you can. You can buy the channel a coffee, and I'll leave a link in the description for that. Or you can push the super thanks button underneath this video. If you decide to do that, those little contributions help the channel to keep ticking along, and the channel thanks you. As do I. Thank you. Okay, that's that unboxing done. What's on the channel next? Well, you'll have to wait and find out. But until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.